Azure Marketplace. Azure Marketplace is an online store that enables customers to discover, try, and buy software and services that run on Azure. Apps Grid. The Apps Grid is a feature in Azure that enables customers to view and manage their Azure resources. Azure Sphere. Azure Sphere is a solution that enables customers to secure the Internet of Things, IoT, devices and gateways. IoT Central. Azure IoT Central is a fully managed SaaS, software as a service, that makes it easy to connect, monitor, and manage IoT assets at scale. IoT Hub. Azure IoT Hub is a fully managed service that enables customers to connect, monitor, and manage IoT devices. Azure IoT Hub. Azure IoT Hub is a service that enables customers to connect, monitor, and control millions of IoT devices. Azure Bot Services. Azure Bot Service is a service that enables customers to build and deploy chatbots. Azure Container Instances. Azure Container Instances is a service that enables customers to run containerized applications without the need to manage virtual machines or scale the underlying infrastructure. Azure Kubernetes Service. Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS, is a service that enables customers to deploy and manage containerized applications using Kubernetes. Azure Storage Account. Azure Storage Account is a service that enables customers to store and retrieve data in Azure. Azure Storage Accounts provide access to the Azure storage services, including blobs, files, queues, and tables. Azure Storage Tiers. Azure storage tiers are different levels of storage that offer varying levels of performance and cost. Data Lake Storage Container. A data lake storage container is a logical container for storing files and folders in Azure Data Lake Storage. Blobs Container. A blobs container is a logical container for storing binary large objects, blobs, in Azure Storage. GZRS. Azure Storage. GZRS, Geo-Zone Redundant Storage, is a type of Azure storage that stores data in multiple regions, providing high availability and data durability in the event of a regional outage. GARZS, Azure Storage. GARZS, Geo-Active Zone Redundant Storage, is a type of Azure storage that stores data in multiple regions, with automatic failover to a secondary region in the event of a regional outage. It provides higher availability than GZRS. Locally Redundant Storage, LRS. Locally Redundant Storage, LRS, is a type of Azure storage that stores data in at least 3 storage nodes in the same Azure region for high availability. Zone Redundant Storage, ZRS. Zone Redundant Storage, ZRS, is a type of Azure storage that stores data in at least 3 storage nodes across 2 or more Azure availability zones for high availability and disaster recovery. Geo-Redundant Storage, GRS. Geo-Redundant Storage, GRS, is a type of Azure storage that stores data in at least 2 Azure regions for high availability and disaster recovery. Azure Lifecycle Policy. Azure Lifecycle Policy is a service that enables customers to manage the lifecycle of their Azure resources. General Purpose V2. General Purpose V2 storage accounts are the latest generation of Azure storage accounts that provide access to the Azure storage services, including blobs, files, queues, and tables. Azure Event Hubs. Azure Event Hubs is a fully managed, real-time data ingestion service that enables customers to ingress millions of events per second from any source, so they can be processed with multiple consumers. Azure Service Bus. Azure Service Bus is a messaging service that enables customers to send and receive messages between decoupled systems. Azure Event Hubs. Azure Event Hubs is a service that enables customers to ingest and process large volumes of data in near real time. Event Hub. Azure Event Hub is a fully managed service that enables customers to ingest and process large volumes of data in near real time. Azure Monitor. Azure Monitor is a service that enables customers to collect, analyze, and act on telemetry from Azure resources, applications, and other systems. Azure Log Analytics. Azure Log Analytics is a service that enables customers to collect, search, and analyze log data from various sources. Log Analytics Workspace. A log analytics workspace is a container for storing log data and metadata in Azure Monitor Logs. Azure Application Insights. Azure Application Insights is a service that enables customers to monitor the performance and usage of their applications. Azure Activity Log. Azure Activity Log is a log of all the management operations that have been performed on an Azure subscription. Azure Service Health. Azure Service Health is a service that enables customers to view the health of Azure services and take action when there are issues. Azure Front Door. Azure Front Door is a service that enables customers to build high-performance and scalable web applications. Azure Firewall. Azure Firewall is a firewall as a service offering that enables customers to centrally create, enforce, and log application and network connectivity policies across subscriptions and virtual networks. Azure Firewall DDoS Protection. Azure Firewall Distributed Denial of Service (DDoS) protection is a service that provides protection against DDoS attacks for Azure virtual networks. Azure Route Filter. Azure Route Filter is a service that enables customers to control routing in Azure ExpressRoute and Virtual WAN. Azure Traffic Manager. Azure Traffic Manager is a service that enables customers to control the distribution of traffic to their Azure resources. Azure Traffic Manager is a service that enables customers to distribute traffic across multiple Azure resources. Azure SQL Database. Azure SQL Database is a fully managed relational database service in Azure that enables customers to create, configure, and manage databases in the cloud. Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Cosmos DB is a fully managed, globally distributed, multi-model database service. Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake is a service that enables customers to store and analyze large amounts of data. Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Azure SQL Data Warehouse is a service that enables customers to create and run a data warehouse in Azure. Azure SQL Database. Azure SQL Database is a service that enables customers to create and run a SQL database in Azure. Azure Database for PostgreSQL. Azure Database for PostgreSQL is a fully managed service that enables customers to create and run a PostgreSQL database in Azure. Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake Storage is a fully managed, scale-out data lake that enables customers to store, manage, and analyze large amounts of data. Azure SQL Synapse. Azure Synapse Analytics, formerly SQL Data Warehouse, is a cloud-based analytics service that enables customers to analyze large amounts of data using a combination of big data and traditional data warehousing.